All right, so what exactly are probiotics and what about prebiotics? And are they different from each other? And why are they so vital for our health?
Our medical expert, Dr. Payal Kohli, is here to explain the benefits. And I'm so glad we're having this conversation because I religiously take a prebiotic, probiotic like mix of vitamin in the morning, every morning, and I have no idea what it does. So please tell me if I'm doing the right thing.
Okay, so probiotics, we all kind of know, are the good bacteria in our gut, right? So when you take a pill that has probiotics, it usually has bacteria and yeast. And the idea is these are the healthy microorganisms that help break down food. They live not just in our gut, they live in our vaginal tract, they live in our mouth, they live in our urinary tract, so they're actually all over our body. Prebiotics are the food for that bacteria. So they're the fiber and the nourishment for the bacteria that lives in your gut. So the idea is if you take more fiber, you actually can kind of feed those healthy bacteria in your gut, provide them with their nutrients, and kind of help to promote gut health. So acidophilus is probably the most common one that's out there. You probably have heard of it. But a lot of women use it not just for gut health, but for vaginal health as well.
I'm so glad that now we know what a pre and probiotic actually is, but what can they do for our health?
Yeah, and so, I mean, the idea here is whether we should take them or not. So they really help to sort of repopulate the gut and restore the correct balance. But in my opinion, it's for people who've had the balance wiped out. So think about using antibiotics, for example, getting chemotherapy, or having some GI illness where you feel like the gut bacteria has really been destroyed and you sort of need to reset. Those are the people in whom we think they have the most benefit because they help to restore the gut health. If your gut is doing better, your immune system is better, your mental health is better. It can help clear up your acne, actually. If you have recurrent, urinary tract infections or yeast infections, it can help with that. So there's so many benefits. You even digest your food better when your gut health is better.
Well, that all sounds great. So me taking one every morning, is that a good thing?
So the studies are a little mixed on a well person taking it. So if you're not well and you talk to your doctor and they suggest the probiotics to kind of help repopulate the gut, that's one thing. If you're well, we're not sure if it helps. And here's kind of the caveat. It can have risks, obviously, right? So the FDA doesn't regulate these probiotic supplements. They're supplements, they're not medicines. In other words, you could also be changing the bacteria in your gut in a negative way because everybody's bacteria looks different. So yours and Alex's and mine, everybody's bacteria is like their footprint. So if you overpopulate one type of bacteria based on what you're taking, you could actually be changing it in a negative way. And then if you have like chemotherapy and you're immunocompromised, you could actually get an infection because these are bacteria that you're taking. So I would say talk to your doctor about whether it makes sense to take a supplement, but certainly food is a great way to get these.
So talk to me about some of the food that will naturally help populate the Now, does that also count for prebiotic though?
Both, yes.
Okay.
And so, because if you take a pill, sometimes it can cause bloating, it can cause gas, right? Because it's fiber, it's insoluble fiber that you're taking. So that can be problematic. But with food, we have less of those effects because our body's kind of used to it. The challenge with food is getting enough of that bacteria, but yogurt is a great source of probiotics. We all know that. Miso, pickles.
Pickles?
Yeah.
I love a good pickle.
Me too.
Fermented cheeses.
Okay.
These are all great sources. So I'd like to say making a nice yogurt smoothie is a perfect way if you really want to add more probiotics into your diet to sort of supplement. But if you're thinking of taking a supplement, I'm not completely against it. I just think it's important to talk to your doctor because you're changing everything. Remember, it's like a drop in the lake. It causes a ripple effect. So if you take a supplement, you're changing your vaginal flora, you're changing your urinary tract flora, your gut flora, all of those things. Whereas with food, there's less of a chance that you're doing something that could tip the scales in sort of a funny way. So do I have you questioning your supplement there?
No, you just saved me like $60 because this thing was expensive and I'm not buying it anymore. So thank you, Dr.
There you
Kohli.
go. What are you going to spend that
the yogurt.
$60 on?
Disney World.
But you know what? When you stop it, Alex, I do want you to tell us about how your gut health is. Because that's a really good sort of vibe to know if something is working. Are you getting more bloating? Are you getting more gas? Are you getting more abdominal discomfort? Do you feel like your gut habits, your stool habits have changed? This is all important to track if you're ever are taking one or stop a probiotic.
Okay, good to know.
Interesting. I have a selfish question really quick. I know we only have like 30 seconds, but anytime I get sick, I'll take probiotics afterwards. Is that bad?
Sick how?
Like if I have like food poisoning, I feel like that's the remedy.
No, that's the correct thing to do because you've kind of wiped out your flora. And same thing if you go out, a lot of times people will go out and eat really unhealthy. So when you're eating a lot of processed foods, like on a vacation or something, a nice way to kind of help restore is to add more probiotics to your diet. And
right.
so if you're going to give it to kids, though, ladies, make sure you check with the pediatrician.
Okay.
Because really young kids, you shouldn't give supplements to, but certainly the yogurts and the healthy ways to get it through
I
food.
like it. Thank you, Dr. Kohli.